It's the season of love, of chocolate heart-shaped candies, and also the perfect time to talk about Sune, the goddess of beauty and love in the Forgotten Realms. Welcome back to Beauty and the Beholder. If you're new here, hi, hello, my name is Kiki, and I am your lipstick-loving lore historian. I made this necklace just for the occasion, and I'm super excited to talk about Sune because she is like the queen, the literal queen. Every week, unless I'm visiting a con like last week, we get together, we put on some makeup, and we talk about D&D. So if you love to gossip about fictional fantasy characters, I'm your girl. Let's get into it. So Sune, who is Sune? Sune is the goddess of love, and that includes even the more negative aspects of love, like obsession, murderous passions, any tragedies that could be born from love. That's all her. But at the same time, she also is the patroness of deeper connections, matches destined and forbidden, and the transformation of ugliness into beauty. She was the one who came up with that ugly duckling tail. I bet you she ghost wrote it. Why am I putting her concealer already? Her portfolio is beauty, love, and passion, and she's considered to be chaotic good. Her domains are life and light, and she tends to be worshipped by hedonists and just general art lovers, performers, artists, people who love art and entertainment of all forms. She also goes by Lady Firehair, the Lady of Love, the Goddess of Love, the Goddess of Beauty and Love, the Beautiful One, the Fickle and the Beautiful, that's me, and the Princess of Passion. I love. Why does that sound like smut? Amazing. I'm just getting into the saucy fantasy novels, y'all. I just started reading A Court of Thorns and Roses. It's a good time. Sune's history was mostly told in myth, usually involving her romances and flirtation with other gods. It's just kind of what she was known for, which good on her. Like, we love a woman who can embrace her sensuality. You know what I mean? One really important piece of Forgotten Realms history that she was a part of is during the time of troubles when all the gods were forced to live as mortals. For more information on that, I definitely recommend checking out the 𝕻𝖗𝖈 video because we go over it a little bit more in depth in that one. During the time of troubles, rescued Sharess from her death. Shar got Sharess just before she was a lost cause. That's when Sune stepped in and saved the day. Another key event of hers was during the spell plague, her plane of bright water, which we've been talking a little bit about in the 𝕻𝖚𝖈𝖙 and 𝕻𝖗𝖈 videos, was destroyed. Like, gone. So Lune, though, she's such a nice woman. She invited her and everybody who was like not able to live on Brightwater anymore to live with her at the Gates of the Moon. During the spell plague and this period of transition, we found out that a lot of the lesser powers of love in the realms, such as Hanali Selenil, who is one of the elven goddesses of love, they were confirmed to be aspects of Sune. Also, when Mr. died, which caused the spell plague, Sune was one of the biggest advocates alongside Tyr and Torm for putting Cyric in jail. They were like, he needs to be imprisoned. She was just not having it. She was like, life sentence. That's it. No further questions. Which I love that. She is truly sticking up for the girls. She is a ride or die. She was a true feminist. So she's had her hands in quite a few places, if you know what I mean. As for Sune's realm, Sune's divine realm was Brightwater. She shared this realm with a ton of other goddesses because she's just that girl, like 𝕻𝖗𝖈, the goddess of fortune, which we talked about last episode, Lyra, the goddess of joy, Sharess, the goddess of sensual pleasures, and Joaquin, the goddess of wealth. That is such a good, girl gang. We got luck, love, wealth, sensual pleasure. Everybody is covered. It is the ultimate Bratz pack, okay? In the classic D&D cosmology of the Great Wheel, Brightwater was located in Arborea, a plane all about freedom, celebration, just living life. But later during the World Axis cosmology, where D&D shifted their cosmic map around, Brightwater became its own plane. But The through line between the two was that it was the place to be if you love to live life. Basically life and light, you know, life, light, love. Brightwater was built like a city, basically, and split into different wards. Each of the goddesses that lived in Brightwater had their own zone. Sune's spot was the Heartfire Quarter, and girl, it was a vibe. Picture like intimate candlelit gardens, the smell of incense in the air, little hidden courtyards that are perfect for like whispered confessions, romantic rendezvous. Out on the edges, you had fest halls, aka the club, matchmaking shops, Tinder, but like IRL and divine. Cozy little inns, basically little love hotels. But don't get carried away. Heartfire Quarter wasn't all just rose petals and bubble baths. This realm was dedicated to love and passion in all forms, including the dangerous kind. Crimes of passion, incubi, succubi. Little chaos, you know? Apparently, you could venture toward the heart of the realm. And in there, you would either become one with the goddess Sune or never be seen again. Overall, though, the realm had a very deep, mysterious vibe. It was for people who wanted more than just a good time. Because if they wanted just like a regular good old time, that's what like Lyra and her realm is for, you know? So it seems like a lot of the people attracted to Sune were just really looking for that deeper meaning, true beauty, divine passion, and the romanticization, you know what I mean, romanticization of love. This is editing me. Shout out to Artie. You sent me a message and made me realize like there were things that I had not included in my Sune script and reminded me like I skipped over a whole part of my script too. Thank you so much. By the way, y'all, if you don't follow me on Instagram already, I post stories on like when I'm filming, and y'all can kind of get to see some behind the scenes and stuff before it gets published on YouTube. Just say, go say hi. Thanks. I totally forgot to mention this really cool temple of Sune called the Palace of Passion. It's located in Raven's Bluff. It's said to celebrate beauty in all its forms. It's a temple, but it's also kind of like an attraction for anybody to come and visit. Like we said, there are just these gorgeous classical structures with these blooming gardens. I thought this was a funny detail. It says cosmetics are available at the entrance for those with facial blemishes. The temple's staircases, floors, and columns were all made out of pink marble and totally gilded. Go off, queen. The palace's dome was carved out of red crystal, filled with lavish furniture, decorations, fresh flowers, just very warm and welcoming. Just past the main gates when you enter was a grand foyer with 3 huge crystal chandeliers and a grand staircase that would lead towards the palace's ballroom. There was like the ballroom and the second floor with balconies and different rooms with hot tubs, dressing rooms, places for entertainers to stay at when they were performing. It also had curved flying walkways, which were called the Lovers' Walks. Students believed that anybody who met on the Lovers' Walks was blessed by Sune herself. Clerics of Sune were called heart wardens. At some point in the late 14th century DR, the Temple of Sune in Raven's Bluff started to have friction with the Church of Cheresse, because it turns out the Temple of Cheresse in Raven's Bluff, it was actually being used by cultists of Glacia. You know that devil lord lady, she's the daughter of Asmodeus. She's a big deal. She's a cool devil. There was also this campaign for who was going to be the like patron deity of the city of Raven's Bluff. It was kind of like the Church of Lathander versus the Church of Sune. Sune ended up winning here because of this program that one of the Sunites, Candy Cane, what an iconic name, Candy Cane, we love it. Basically, one of the Sunites started this program called the Body Beautiful. It sounds like Weight Watchers, it sounds like Mary Kay. It's exactly that. They tutored people on how to use cosmetics and take care of their bodies, etc., etc. But it was super popular amongst the like noble youths. Oh, and also they helped the homeless too. Apparently, the Palace of Passion had like a satellite location. It was like a mountain resort. Like literally, it was a famous mountain resort called Valley of the Dolls. Iconic. Like, come on. This was like a 2 days walk from Raven's Bluff, and only those personally invited by the student clergy were allowed entrance. You show up to the entrance and it's like, who do you know here? When Sune would appear to mortals, she would appear as a human female of unearthly beauty, dressed in only a near transparent gown of silk. She was known for her lustrous, impossibly long hair, which of course was a fiery red. That's her nickname, Lady Firehair. Her hair would also assume the appearance of flames sometimes, and even if her physical manifestation might change, her hair was always the one thing that stayed constant. She would change her skin color, her eye color, and she would always possess these plump ruby red lips, and occasionally wore ruby gemstones in her hair. It was said that to look upon Sune's avatar could very well stop a battle before it even began. Her looks, if she was unclothed apparently, could kill if she so desired. A powerful form of death magic difficult to resist. Even when she was wearing like a nice fit though, she would still enrapture anybody that she wanted within like a 90-foot radius. Her appearance made it so that it was almost impossible to look away when you were seeing her. Animals would never attempt to harm her, and upon seeing her, no male being of any kind would either. The latter to the point that even thinking to do so was simply impossible. That's how it should be. That's all I'm saying. As for her personality, she was a very benevolent goddess. She hated the destruction of beauty and thrived on the tenderest of emotions. She truly loved and protected her followers, reserving her deepest love for the mortals who revered her. She was also one of the most vain entities in the realms. She enjoyed attention and sincere flattery while avoiding the horrific and boorish. The sometimes whimsical princess of passion alternated between deep passion and casual flirtation with others, which good for her, you know, she doesn't stay tied down. When she was truly interested in a person or a god, she wholeheartedly believed and lived in those deep romantic feelings. But of course, her focus would only last a short time, as long as the person continued to be enticing for her, before she would lose interest and move on. As for her symbols, iconography, and manifestations, Sune's color was deep crimson. She was associated with rubies, as well as satyrs and dryads, which, oh my god, dryads are one of my favorite races. I really want to make a video on dryads. I think that would be a lot of fun. The animals that she was associated with are red doves, chestnut horses. She was also associated with red poppies, roses, and rose petals. She could also manifest as a phantom kiss or caress, as well as a gentle crooning audible to her worshippers. Her symbol is, of course, basically her face, kind of like in the shape of a flame, which I think is really cool. I feel like hearts are also pretty symbolic of her, you know? I definitely kind of associated her with pinks, obviously reds. I feel like pink is such a sleigh, and I feel like she would be about it, you know? To her followers, she could also manifest within them as like a glowing red, pink, or white light, like an aura signifying like Sune is here, you know? Whenever that aura fades away, that person is healed. Now, what was her clergy like? Who worships the Church of Sune? Generally, beautiful people. And it's usually humans, elves, half-elves that serve the Lady of Love. Of course, like a lot of female goddesses in the Forgotten Realms, the female clergy outnumber the male clergy, but the men are still valued, unlike, you know, our friend Lolth. Especially because they are so rare in the Church of Sune. Any ugly, imperfect, or disparaged persons are kind of pitied by devout Sunites. A little vain in that aspect. If you are in the Church of Sune and you happen to acquire an imperfection that can't be hidden by spells or makeup or anything, your career is kind of over in the Sunite Church. They're like the sorority house that only recruits like prettiest girls. That's them. Other churches tend to view the Church of Sune kind of as really flighty and vain people, which, I mean, they're not wrong. And they tend to have a rivalry with Hanali Selenil's church as well. But in general, Sunite's clerics would bring beauty to the world in many forms, all of which would be pleasing to the senses. They would create great works of art, become patrons for promising actors, and would import exotic luxuries like satins, silks, and fine wines. My kind of people. I love it. Our followers, of course, enjoyed looking beautiful and just hearing general tales of romance. Stories could range from like a steamy romance to like following your heart. The negative aspects of love were kind of downplayed by followers of Sune as well, with the interest of making the Sunite faith welcoming and attractive to all. This is temporary. This is just to like get my bangs to go a certain way. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so the Sunite church is pretty loose, pretty informal in terms of like hierarchy. They're not like super sweet about it like the Bainite churches. They're pretty chill. The leadership tends to change pretty regularly, like with the whims of the clergy, and typically the most charismatic Sunite clergy tend to be the ones to take power. Kind of like real life, you know? Anyway, there is little is thought of a priest dropping everything and going bounding off into the wild, particularly if the goal is some beautiful object or a beautiful individual. And that kind of behavior doesn't really make anyone bat an eye in the church, which is amazing. Like, you can go take a 6-week vacation and nobody's gonna ask you about it. They're not gonna ask you, like, did you submit your PTO request? No, the Sunite church is not like that. Sunite temples are stunningly beautiful, well designed, and tend to be classically elegant structures. They usually have sculptural landscaping all around. Think Versailles, but like temple size. Many temples have carefully tended to gardens full of all types of florals and topiaries, trellises, all the really pretty stuff that you see in the nice like romantic gardens, with fine sculpture and beautiful fountains with like soft magical lighting. They're like even selfie ready, Instagram worthy. Sunite dogma is that beauty is more than skin deep. It issues from the core of one's being and shows one's fair or foul face to the world. Fair is foul and foul is fair. Followers of Sune are believers in romance, true love winning over all, and following your heart, you know, believe in yourself. Live your dream. I believe in you. I think I'm a Sunite, TBH. Novice Sunites receive the following charge. Love none more than yourself, a safe Sune, and lose yourself in love of the Lady Firehair. Perform a loving act every day, and seek to awaken love in someone new each day. Respond to love at least once in a day. I think that's beautiful. We could all use a little more love in our lives, you know what I mean? Encourage beauty wherever you find it. Acquire beautiful items of all sorts, and encourage, sponsor, and protect artists who produce such things whenever and wherever you find them. Support artists. Keep your own body as comely as possible and as attractively displayed as situations warrant. Let hairstyle and clothing best suit your personal appearance, striving to stir and delight others who look upon you. Moreover, hide that away, but always seek to present yourself to those around you in a pleasing variety of garbs and activities, so as to move them with love and desire. Love those that respond to your beauty and all beauty, and let warm friendship and admiration flower, where love cannot or dare not. I love it! So cute! On the day-to-day, they just love aesthetic. They're hedonists. They're there for the vibes. They actively seek out pleasure and beauty in everything. The pursuit of aesthetic enjoyment is their life. Same. Sunite clergy buy beautiful items of art, sculpture, and handiwork whenever they find it, sponsoring good artists where necessary and overpaying for such items so as to drive prices up, create more demand, and so increase the supply of things of beauty. Side note, I shop so much at cons, and one thing I've noticed is that artists, y'all tend to undercut yourself. I always of course, tip. I'm a sweet gal, what can I say? Sometimes people want to give me discounts and I'm like, no, I'm not taking a discount from you. Artists, learn from the Sunites, okay? You deserve to be compensated for your art. Whenever Sunite clergy have to perform a dirty task, they have to get their hands dirty, you know? They put on a disguise. They hide their body, they conceal their identity. You can't say Sunites doing anything crazy. They hate vandals. If they find out that somebody has vandalized like a beautiful creation, they're hiring an adventuring party to track your ass down, you know? They don't play. Don't write your name on monuments or historical things. Put the Sharpie away, okay? That's messed up. All clergy of Sune also strive to create beauty in a personal way, preferably as a creator of aesthetic fine art, such as blown glass ornaments, paintings, tapestries. Those are all the most fashionable things in Faerun right now. But as a dancer, if you fail at all else, I love that a dancer is the backup. That is probably, I mean, they're all hard, but that is the most physically difficult one, but that's the backup. whatever. They're encouraged to gain expertise in their art form and pass that knowledge on to others. And any money made from that is meant to go to the Sune church. On the day-to-day, they're also encouraged to provide aesthetic assistance to other people, whether it's like gifting clothing, cosmetics, giving a little hair makeover. That is all encouraged as well. Even if the person is not a Sune, they're encouraged to still spread beauty to others in that interpersonal way. As for holy days or important ceremonies, green grass is celebrated by Sunetes with a lot of outdoor frolicking. We love frolicking, as well as midsummer night with night-long flirtatious conversations and chases through forests and parks and such. They have to have at least one grand revel each month and at least one feast of love celebrated each 10-day. Now, the grand revel is a dusk to dawn party. Outsiders are invited, there's dancing, there's shows. This is where they like try to convert people, you know? Not like forcibly, but they just be like, oh my god, look how fun we are. Whereas the Feast of Love is more of an intimate, quiet affair, just for the faithful of Sune. People lie on couches, sipping on liqueur and eating hors d'oeuvres. It sounds like the best time. They snack on sweet pastries while dancers perform. This is my dream hangout session, by the way. The dances are interspersed with readings of romantic verse and prose and lays of love sung. The Feast of Love is often later carried on to like more private gatherings, but there are always bards on hand to like, you know, tell some stories, keep it entertaining, you know, for anybody who doesn't feel like socializing more privately. Sunetes also offer prayers to Sune, while of course dressed in beautiful ritual garments. They typically stand in a pool or bath, some body of water, a little role play thing. If you're playing like a Sune in Baldur's Gate, you can just stand in the river and do your little ritual down by the river. And they look into a mirror lit by natural light or candles. If you seek guidance in life, entry into the faith, or atonement, that's where they indulge in a night-long candle vigil. Sune will send her followers guidance through visions in that mirror or by altering the reflection of the worshiper in some way. Now, as for temples of Sune, the biggest and most known one is the Temple of Beauty in Waterdeep. This is a rich and important sacred site of Sune with slender towers that taper with exquisite smoothness as they reach up to the sky. Around these towers, soft-hued drift globes float, and their wandering light also illuminates the interior chambers of the temple. The temple is said to house chambers of great luxury where beautiful people gather from far across Faerun. It serves as a safe, neutral ground for 𝕻𝖑𝖈 nobles of hostile houses to like meet and just hang out, you know. You can totally see like a Romeo and Juliet situation happening here. The Temple of Beauty is also a favorite destination for tourists of all faiths. I'm sure there's like a long line. You gotta reserve your tickets in advance, you know, get your guide or Klook or whatever and reserve. Anyway, non-Sunetes have to make handsome and expensive offerings to the goddess to be allowed entry, which I guess is fair, you know. It's a pretty temple, you want to see it, you gotta keep it alive, you know, like what a lot of churches do in real life. As for affiliated orders, there is the Sisters and Brothers of the Ruby Rose. This is a small knightly order of fighters, paladins, bards, who all serve to guard temples and holy sites, or just pursue quests and do good things in the world. In order to become one of the sisters or brothers, you have to stand vigil in a church of Sune all night. If Lady Firehair appears to you and somehow shows your favor, maybe in one of those manifestations we talked about earlier, that's when you know you're in. You know, you're one of the sisters, one of the brothers of the Ruby Rose. I love it. I love Sune's branding so much. I thought this was a cool detail. Members in this order are given to writing essays and songs of courtly love when not engaged in vital business, and often adopt a beautiful individual to adore from afar, whether that individual would be flattered by such attentions or not. So they stay creative. They've got their muses. It's very interesting. As for the vestments of the Church of Sune, they're not bashful about their bodies. They're here to slay. They're here to serve. And basically the standard ceremonial garb is monastic robes for men and habits for women. They're both cut to show off the figure of the wearer, and they're all dyed a deep crimson. Hair is normally worn long and allowed to fall free and flowing like Lady Firehair herself, specifically during rituals. And priestesses will also wear attractive wimples with V-shaped crown pieces. Priests tend to bind their hair back with crimson scarves. Red hair is considered a touch of the goddess, kind of how like white or like platinum blonde hair is considered a touch of the goddess of Selune. Red hair is the same for Sune. But of course, all shades of hair or skin are welcome. This is also a cool detail. Less common symbols of Sune are a winking eye. This can be seen as an animated illusion on the doors of Sune temples, or a pair of golden parted female lips, with the tip of a vivid ruby red tongue just visible between them, slyly touching the upper lip. Kind of like that emoji, you know which one I'm talking about? Like that. I love that. That's hilarious. As for adventuring garb, members of the clergy often wear the lips of the goddess painted on a shoulder or their midriffs. Ooh, saucy. And they also try to armor themselves as much as possible so that they don't like get scarred, but they make sure that that heavy armor is as pretty as possible, okay? Now, as for Sune's relationships, she's kind of the queen of relationships if you think about it. Sune's been romantically linked with many members of the Faerunian pantheon. Like we said, she's been around, you know, good for her. She was said to have been smitten with Torm around the time of troubles. Torm reciprocated that affection, and Amanator, the Netherese sun god, was also said to be in love with Sune as well. You didn't hear it from me? In general, though, the Lady of Love, she was very flirtatious. She would bob around, so okay, you can't hold her down. Sune was served by both Lyra and Sharess, and was allied with Milil, Lathander, Selune. She also helped Mistra in her fight against Shar, and that made Shar consider her an enemy, an op. Which, I mean, makes sense. She's trying to spread beauty and love. Char's like, throw it all away. As for enemies, it was kind of hard for people to stay mad at her because of her beauty, basically. So she didn't have any true strong enemies, honestly. But the ones that did not bot with her were the gods of fury. These are all of the gods that focus on destruction. So Talos, 𝕻𝖈𝖙. Oof. I can see 𝕻𝖈𝖙 not playing with Sune. And Tolona or Tempest. As for some character inspiration, this is my favorite part, y'all. Some classes, you gotta start with Bard, of course. College of Glamour, College of Eloquence. Their performance inspires others. It's celebratory of beauty, of art, just Bard 100%. Maybe they use their beauty or their charm to influence others. I typically will make a Baldur's Gate character before I do these videos to kind of get like, you know, inspired. Starting as a Bard with a lyre too fits perfectly. I was super excited to see this description of the lyre. Devotees of the goddess Sune hold that the lyre's 7 strings represent the 7 different forms of love. Beautiful. I love that. Oh my god. I love that so much. So lyres, choose a lyre. Cleric, of course, light or life domain. Paladin, oath of devotion, oath of redemption. This can be like literally a knight in shining armor to protect others with their like beautiful flowing hair. The oath of devotion path can represent the belief in purity and honesty of love, while the redemption path goes more of the like love can heal all route. You know what I mean? Speaking of Sunite paladins, actually, there is a book in Baldur's Gate that is called The Warrior of Love. You can find it in Elminster's library. So here's the description. This compendium of smutty tales advertises itself on the back. A paladin of Sune gets a summons from their goddess, a mission to lie with someone from every town in the Sword Coast to prove their devotion to love. Completing all romances with a Paladin of Sune speedrun. Let's do it. That is hilarious. Sune, the patron goddess of smut. We love to see it. A divine soul sorcerer would fit well too. Druid, I think Circle of the Sun would fit really well, especially if you're playing like as a dryad. That would be beautiful. A monk with the sun soul. That's kind of like one of the most classic Sunite classes. You could do a warlock, like a celestial patron. That would be really interesting in terms of like maybe they made a pact to change themselves or alter themselves completely. A warlock could be a really interesting spin there. As for backgrounds, An entertainer, of course. Courtesan, anybody who provides pleasure, beauty, art in some way. A guild artisan would of course be a perfect fit here too. Maybe they're a jeweler, perfumer, an artist, painter, so many different routes to take there too. Maybe they're a noble. They were raised in the lap of luxury in high society, and Sune's teachings are like the perfect fit for their vanity. Beauty and decorum are like the norm, right? And maybe they're seeking something a little more, a little deeper, you know? Acolyte, of course. They grew up around the Church of Sune. Or a charlatan. Maybe they're a romantic scammer, maybe like a fake matchmaker. I love playing charlatans. This reminds me of that documentary, the Twin Flame documentary. I think it was on Hulu. That was crazy, y'all. Oh my god. That kind of thing. As for some roleplay ideas, maybe they really love everyone. They see the beauty in all things, no matter who it is. They are obsessed with beauty and looking good to a fault. They could be a perfectionist. Maybe they are very quick to judge. They're judgmental. And they're very, very good at getting along with like the noble higher ups, but regular commoner is kind of like, There's so many ways that you could take a Sune character. You could either go the like sassy route or the I love everyone route. And of course, so much in between, you know? Overall, I love Sune. I feel like her character is a reminder that even amidst the darkest times, there is still beauty worth fighting for. She teaches to take care of yourself and others, and I love her. I'm so glad that you all suggested Sune. She is the perfect goddess for being in the beholder, and I can't wait to go do that All Romances Sune Paladin speedrun on Baldur's Gate. Let me know if you have incorporated Sune in your Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough or your D&D campaigns, and please comment below what D&D lore topic or deity that you'd love to talk about next. I keep a running list of all of the requested ones, and the more comments that a topic gets, the more votes it gets in my little spreadsheet. If you already commented it last week, feel free to comment it again, and that way I can keep track of like what y'all want to see. If you got to this point in the video, we're BFFs now. Mwah, I love you. Happy Valentine's Day. It would be so awesome if you liked, subscribed, and signed up for notifications without me telling you to do so. How crazy would that be? I can't believe you did that. I appreciate you so much. Thank you all so much. I had a great time hanging out, and I hope you slay your day. Ciao.